Hi everyone, we thought we'd have some fun and spend a bit of time reminiscing about our time as bursary students. Does everyone want to go around and introduce themselves?
Okay. Hi, I'm Ellie. I was a bursary student in 2018. Bassoon's my main instrument, but at HISS I've played the viol and the curtal.
Lovely. Kira?
Hi, I'm Kira. I was a bursary student in 2018 and 2019. I play the recorder, and then I do a bit of shawm and anything else early and reedy, really. And yeah, I play viol at HISS as well.
Nice. Caius?
I was also a bursary student in 2018, lots of representation here for 2018. In 2019, I was sort of a part-time tutor, and I play the organ and continuo, and I do conducting of the choral ensemble, so yeah.
Lovely. And I'm Catherine. I also started in 2018, and I play the cello and do some singing, and I also play the organ. What's everyone been doing during lockdown? Have you been able to do much early music, or has it kind of gone in a completely different direction? Caius, do you want to start us off? I know you've had a lot going on.
Well, I've been quite active during lockdown. I've been in the very lucky situation that a lot of my work that I would have had has been kept on, be that virtually. So I did a huge primary school workshop thing, set of workshops for children in Worcester, which is quite good. I've been involved with a consort that I work with as well, sort of with a virtual Albert Hall and sort of a new dementia project. I did a come and sing online for a requiem, which is basically just a prolonged Zoom rehearsal, which is really weird because you can't hear anyone sing. So you're sort of there with the piano talking to yourself like, oh, can we start at bar 22 now? And crescendo towards you don't actually know what they're doing, you're sort of guessing. And so you're like, oh, I can see you're still singing and stuff like that. And then sort of people are just like sat there like, oh no, I'm not. You get people messaging in the chat box like, no, I came off. Oh, I don't think your D's are together. Can we make the D's together? Which obviously with the sort of time lag and stuff is never going to be together. It's sort of like, well, I don't think that D was together, everyone, and sort of, it's, yeah. And what else have I done? Oh, I've still had chapel services, so sort of multi-tracking, sort of with other singers for chapel services still, and sort of playing the old chapel services and stuff still. So yeah, it's been quite a cool, sort of busy lockdown, but not as busy as usual. So it's been quite nice. Also managed to somehow get a degree, like somehow get halfway through my degree. So it's also a win-win situation. Don't know what have you guys been up to?
Well, I finished off one of my modules because I'm halfway through my master's in performance now, and so we were 10 days before putting on the opera performances when we kind of ended uni, and then not long after we went into lockdown. So we had to kind of finish that module online, which was a bit strange, not being with the rest of the orchestra and actually having the singers and the stage and everything. We were just playing our parts to a backing track, which was, I mean, it does the job. So finishing that module, and then not that much early music. I actually have done quite a bit of folk though. I've got my HISS tune book out and kind of just selected some random tunes that look really nice.
Aww.
And then actually doing some recorder playing, doing more that, so that's always good. And just kind of playing the tune in the book, and then playing it with just finding a recording on like YouTube or Spotify or something, playing along with that, and then getting rid of the tune book, and then just seeing if I can play it from memory with the track. So I've got a nice dozen or so songs that I can play from memory.
Whip up next year's course.
Oh my god. Yeah, I can definitely play those next year. We'll see. Yeah, there was that, and then Kira and I had a rehearsal with our ex-lecturer, which was the one early music thing I have done. So I don't know if you want to talk about that, Kira.
Yeah, that's one proper early music thing I've done as well, because unfortunately I live in a flat and I can't practice the shawm at home. So Ellie very kindly gave us her back garden and threw in her neighbours, and we went and had a lovely shawm session, which was great actually. But yeah, for the rest of lockdown, I've been doing. So it was actually quite nice to actually have the time to do lots of playing. Really, I've just done lots of recorded playing, working out stuff. I finished off my penultimate module for my masters, which was meant to be a lecture recital, which ended up being a sort of YouTube video of my PowerPoint with me talking. But hey, it's fine. And so I've just got my final recital later in the year. So I've just been thinking about that, working on things for that. Doing some. I also play the oboe, so I've been it's missing orchestra. So I've been listening to orchestral recordings and attempting to play along with some nice little oboe excerpts. That's been quite nice. But yeah, it's been nice to have the time to practice, to be honest. What about you, Catherine?
Well, I've been working this year, doing a year in industry placement year as part of my degree. So I've been working with the Diocese of Leeds Music, and we have a school singing programme. So normally choral directors would go into schools and do singing sessions with a load of kids, and then also lots of choirs outside, and then an organist training programme as well, which is basically individual tuition. So yeah, we've moved all of that online, so that was a lot of work, but so rewarding. I mean, obviously it's not the same, and kind of not having that feedback from rehearsals is just tough. But the social element's really nice, and it's lovely to see all the kids. So yeah, that's kind of been mainly what I've been doing. And then we also have a organ festival, which happens every year. So this year we did it online. So I've kind of been editing and the podcast. We started a podcast this year, which Caius was on actually. And
no, on Spotify.
And the organ recitals, which we moved to YouTube. So yeah, just kind of pre-recorded things. And I've in early music news, well, in folk news, I started learning the accordion, courtesy of my boss Ben. He's very keen, and lent me his accordion, one of his accordions. So yeah, that's kind of been the main musical, my main musical thing during lockdown. So, and the flute, actually, I've been learning the flute as well.
So how did everyone first hear about HISS? Catherine, do you want to start?
Well, I actually applied for another course called Add Up, which Caius did as well. And I think I just saw Graham posted on the ABCD Facebook group that they were looking for someone. It's called, was it Artistic what's it, Caius go?
These are not the details I remember.
Anyway, it's for an Erasmus Plus program for conducting. So I couldn't get the time off work, so Graham instead invited me to HISS. Thought it would be fun.
So I went on the Add Up Plus program, having never met Graham before, but Graham rang me at about 6:30 in the morning, which this was back in the days when I didn't wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I sort of answered this number that I didn't recognise in a sort of very groggy, weary voice. And Graham, in his very enthusiastic manner, answered and was like, "Oh, would you like to go to Italy next week?" I was like, "What?" So then next thing I knew, I was on a plane with Graham, and then was talking about HISS and early music, and then he said you should come to HISS, so that's why I went to HISS.
Nice. Well, mine and Kira's kind of first hearing about HISS is kind of interlinked, because I heard it from her, because we both go to Bath Spa, and we're both part of the Vials group there, or when the Vials group was running. and I think I was just in the class one day, and then you'd heard about it, and you just came in and you were like, "Oh, Ellie, got some early music stuff to tell you." And
Come with me. Yeah, because I'd done a couple of concerts with Graham because he was working at Bar at the time, and he kept telling me about it and saying like, we've got some great recorder players there, you need to come, and so eventually I took a leaflet and decided I was going to go and dragged Ellie along with me.
Thank you.
All
right. So what progressives did everyone choose when you applied for HISS, and like how do you feel you progressed, seeing as that is the point of the progressive, choosing something you're not as confident in and seeing yourself soar? Catherine?
Well, I did Vivian's natural voice progressive, which was completely out of my comfort zone because I'm very classically trained in everything. So to do something where Vivian really likes improvisation, and we kind of started off every morning with what was it, like some kind of folk song with movement and things, which I'm very kind of uptight, and I don't like I just like doing the music. The other stuff doesn't come as naturally to me. So that was great. And I really enjoyed the kind of research element of it, because for the concert we kind of did some research, found some folk songs, decided what we were doing with that, and then just made up other parts around that. That's where all the improv came in. And yeah, it was great. And I also, that year, I started a choir of my own, and that, in terms of doing the research for all the concerts and everything, that really helped with that. So yeah.
Nice. Caius?
Yeah, I mean, I think the great thing about HISS is that it's so flexible. So the fact you can attend several different sort of progressives that you want to go to and stuff, and very similar to Catherine, sort of been very stuck in my church ways. I went to the vocal consort and sort of, I think the great thing about HISS is that everything is made to tailor you in sort of a way. So if you're a fantastic player, or if you're an amateur starting out, all the tutors are fantastic, I think, and sort of really world class in their fields, that sort of tailor it towards your needs. So I think with me, obviously, I quite like conducting. I sang in the vocal consort, and Graham, in my first year with the Bursary year, sort of let me take rehearsals, let me do different pieces, and like conduct it in the concert at the end and stuff. So for me, I really enjoyed sort of conducting repertoire that I didn't know, composers I barely even heard of and stuff like that. So yeah, just really enjoyed doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, and your point in flexibility, I mean, with the natural voice progressive, Vivian kind of put a few ideas out there at the beginning of the week, and then let us choose where we wanted to go from that. And yeah, and then I dipped in and out of other sessions as well. It was great. Ellie, how about you?
So I originally applied to play tenor viol in the progressive, so the viol sessions with Zan. And I am not a string person whatsoever. And I'd been a part of the Bar Viols group for maybe a couple of months before going to HISS. So I probably had about max 10 hours playing it. So I really didn't know what it was as an instrument, or how to go about playing it, the style, the context.
Yeah, and to be fair, we weren't properly taught either, were we? It was just kind of, here's a viol, you can do it.
Yeah. Here's what all the strings are. Go forth. So yeah, it was quite daunting going into a class with people that have been playing that instrument for decades. I was a bit worried about that, but just going in, there was a class, probably maybe 10 people, and it's just, everyone was so welcoming, and just seeing somebody new to the instrument, everyone was really happy to chip in with tips about like how to hold your viol, all good kind of equipment to have. Tuning is a real issue, and I'm a weakling and I can't deal with the wooden pegs, especially on the old viols that we were using from elsewhere. So people really nice and tuned my viol for me because I couldn't like every session. But that was really good. And I also, going back to flexibility again, I actually went and did some Kurtle playing with the Loud Winds group as well. And I'd also only been playing the Kurtle for a few months, and I'd only been to one other workshop on it. So that was kind of an interesting experience, but everyone there was really welcoming as well. It was just really nice to not feel pressured in an environment, because I know a lot of music stuff, especially courses, can be quite pressurized and it's quite intense. But at HISS, everyone just wants to kind of play the music, and everyone just enjoys the atmosphere at the end of the day.
And I think a lot of people, you know, bring their second or third instruments along, or if they kind of let it slip for a bit, or just do the odd bit of playing. I think that takes the pressure off as well.
Yeah, it's a good environment to play whatever instrument, and even if you haven't played it before, a lot of the time it's like, oh, would you like to have a go at this? And then people might swap around instruments, or yeah, just allow you to have that space to play it.
Yeah, so the progressive I did last year was the like interpreting recorder sonatas with Mary, which was really good. It was really interesting. It was just nice to play with other people, really, and like we talked a lot about. So something I've probably not done as much as I should have is paying more attention to the bass line and how the recorder part interacts with the bass line. So we did a lot of that, and that was really interesting. But yeah, something that I did just out of my comfort zone again is I did Stuart's folk group, which again, as someone who's purely classically trained, I can't play from ear. Whole idea of, I get very nervous if the music's taken away from me, all that sort of thing. And I just need to go do it, and it was absolutely brilliant. You know, because there's people there who've been playing folk all their lives, and which is quite intimidating, and they have all these amazing tunes in their heads, that sort of thing. And then, but the way he taught it, we learned a whole tune by ear in the space of about an hour, and just breaking it down and everything. It was really, really good. It made it seem not so scary. Yeah, so that was probably one of the highlights for me.
Do you think learning by ear, that kind of experience, has helped you classically as well?
Definitely, yeah. It's just that I think it's something I've never really tried because it was quite intimidating. And then as soon as I realised, oh, actually, it's not that bad, I've been trying to do it a lot more since, and just play off copy and that sort of thing. It was just breaking through that sort of mental barrier, really.
Nice. What were some of everyone's highlights of being a bursary student at HISS?
Well, I love the sessions. They're probably my favourite bit about HISS. It's just so everyone, if you don't know what that is, everyone goes to the bar in the evenings and just plays. There's a tune book which people often play off. Sometimes our regulars kind of play things that I have no idea what they're playing, but and it's just trying to join in with that. Yeah, it's just that kind of feeling of just making music and not really caring how it sounds, in kind of a, we've got to get this perfect kind of thing. That's probably my favourite bit.
I agree with you. That's definitely my highlight. It's the evenings in the bar. Everyone's a lot more relaxed. You can pick up any instrument you want and just kind of go for it. And yeah, no, it's great.
That was also going to be my main answer as well, the bar sessions. But as well as that, I would say probably just meeting other young people that really have a passion for early music and folk. It's really hard to find people in that niche anyway, and especially young students at uni trying to study that area, not necessarily finding people at their own uni or around where they live. So it's really nice to meet everyone. And also when we had some free time and we tried to find some tunes for all of us to play together on our various mishmash of early instruments, that was really fun.
That was entertaining.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm going to break the mold and say, going to go out there a bit, and I'm going to say musical banquet, which for those who don't know what the musical banquet is, it's sort of one evening. I think it's the penultimate night. Is that right?
Yeah.
One evening anyway, where everyone sort of, it's really nice because everyone sort of performs informally, and there's some performances before dinner, and you sort of have like dinner starter, like Bishop Burton, the accommodation place that we do it at, is really nice, and the food's fantastic. And then for this one evening, they sort of make it all very fancy. Sort of everyone brings wine to the meal, and so you have like napkins out and stuff, and sort of the only way I need to describe it is it's sort of semi-formal. And then in between each course, there's musical offerings to the early music gods, or whatever you want to call them, which may just be Graham, who knows. And everyone sort of performs, and you sort of, it's the first time I ever saw or heard a Gurdy in performance live and stuff like that. And for me, it's a great one because everyone's some groups get together because there's a lot of free time at HISS. So some groups get together and, like, for example, I say I can continue to play, so give me anything to play in solo. So I have people sort of playing with me solely, or some people like meet up in groups and form their own ensembles throughout the week and sort of do pieces on sort of like parodies and stuff, and sort of it's just a really nice laugh and a really, really good time. And you sort of intersperse between everyone, so you sat with different people, and it's just a really, really friendly evening night. And then it ends in the bar, as everyone said, sort of playing from the tune book. So it's just a wonderful sort of 4 hours, I think. So probably music banquet is probably my.
Yeah, that would come a close second for me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. The Crampon consort.
Oh yes, they're fantastic.
Playing ABBA on crampons. I've never seen such a wonderful sight.
I also
so if anyone...
I also think the Tutors concert needs to be in my highlights, because it's just the most wonderful kind of selection of music in the evening. And normally they've kind of had bits of time during the day of the concert to work out what they're doing. So it's got on very little rehearsal, but it's always just fantastic. Yeah.
So I think everyone's probably been on different music courses, whether it's just general music or specifically early music. But what would you say is different about HISS to those other courses?
I think the thing about HISS is that it really encourages collaborations between different tutors, and it's kind of that. So I think Mary was talking in her conversation with Stuart on Monday about how her first time working with Viv, and I think it just, when you work with someone who is kind of different to what you normally do. So Mary's obviously plays the recorder, that's kind of her main thing. And introducing that element of the social side, that's what I really enjoyed about the sessions with Viv as well, is the kind of that extra angle. It's not just from a musical perspective, it kind of adds in some context to it all, and it makes what you're performing and singing and exploring, it all makes sense somehow, more than it would otherwise, I think.
Nice. Caius?
I'd probably say in other courses there's a tendency you quite quickly see groups forming, sort of, and it's subconsciously, you see sort of groups forming of sort of people of different abilities, people who play different instruments, or people who have different backgrounds. You see this sort of, I won't call them cliques, but they sort of are in some ways. But you see different groups forming, and they'll eat together and then like socialise together. But the thing about HISS is there just aren't any groups, because, you know, the great thing about, I don't know, maybe it's because people come across the whole from all areas of the world come to HISS, but it's just, you know, you'll be sat down and you every single dinner, breakfast, if you wake up in time, lunch, you'll be sat with somebody different, and you'll be talking to someone about an amazing story. And it's just that whole thing about that, it really is a family. And that it's interesting, I spoke with Graham last night about that, quite often it's the same old people. Well, at HISS there is, but there's also so many new people each year. It's constantly growing and expanding. Like, it's just like everyone being welcomed into his family, and like everyone makes such an effort with you, and everyone's so friendly towards you, and everyone genuinely just loves to be there and wants to be there, and wants to just actually just make music together. There's no sort of subcontext in anything. It's just, we're here because we love music. You're here because you love music. Let's have a great conversation about music, and let's maybe play together, or let's like Catherine said about collaboration. Let's play together. Let's talk together. Let's and then you find out so much about people. You find out what they do, what their favorite musical memory, or how they first got into playing whatever bizarre and weird and wacky and wonderful instrument they bring, and they show you, and you're sort of thinking like, oh, and sort of these amazing things that you just converse with people and just find out these amazing interests and sort of talk with each other. I think that's completely different, which I don't think has that same sort of, any other course has that same familial vibe, if you want to use a different word about it.
Yes, I think often at the beginning of the week you kind of split into your different instruments or a specific group that you're performing in, and then you don't really go outside of that necessarily in other.
Yeah, and then but HISS, you just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the chaotic nature of lunch and the queue that just means that people have to talk to each other. I don't know. But
Yeah, I think I found the same, because I've been on a couple of other early music courses and they've been equally great, and I love the different atmosphere of all of them. But with HISS, I never feel kind of any pressure about getting things wrong, because with HISS we don't have like a final concert at the end of the week, like a really formal one. Obviously we kind of like showcase in the big hall like what the different groups have been up to, but it's more as just a kind of a nice rounding off and showing everyone what we've been working on, rather than this has to be a perfect performance that is going to be the public watching. There's lots of pressure, like there's none of that, which is really good. And I think with other courses usually you have to sign up to say, I want to do this specific instrument or this specific like time period looking at it. So you just stay with that same group or kind of similar group throughout the week. But with HISS, it's like every day you're like, oh, which sessions do I want to go to today? Because obviously you stay with a progressive throughout the week. But with all the other sessions, there's so many different ones on offer. And you could just go to one that you don't really know much about and equally feel as comfortable there with the people welcoming you as you would with something with an instrument you've played for decades. I think just the variety, and because those sessions you can just mix and match throughout the week, is you just talk to so many people.
And they're so completely different each year as well. And I think a lot of it's based on kind of what the tutors have been working on in their other things that they do during the year, which I think just makes it so exciting, because you just don't know you don't know what's gonna happen
until Monday morning.
yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I think for me it's along the same lines as well. I love the fact that it's such a mixture of abilities. So I can go and I can play recorder, which is my main instrument, and be pretty happy doing that. But I can also go and, like Ellie was saying, play the viol, which we've had no tutoring on, but I feel absolutely fine doing that. You just get approached one lunchtime saying, oh, we're having a viol concert this afternoon, I heard you play, come along. I was like, I can't read alto clef, but all right. And yeah, and it's fine, and you don't feel bad about it, and everyone's just there because they love the music and they love playing, and that's what's great about it. And you can try, everyone's there with all these weird and wonderful instruments. Most people will just say, oh no, yeah, have a go. And where else do you get the chance to try a sort of racket or anything like that? And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think HISS takes you out of your comfort zone, doesn't it, in a kind of a very safe, but in a safe way. You don't feel scared at all doing it, but you're like, I'm just never done anything like this before, but let's give it a go, and it's always really enjoyable, and you come out after it with something.
I never worry that people are going to laugh at me for not being able to do something or getting things wrong, because I think a saying I hear a lot in the early music world is that everyone's common enemy is their instruments, and I think that sentiment's very true at HISS. Like, people just laughing with each other because the instrument's doing something weird, and it's like, oh well, we're making the best of it, it's just fun. So
I was gonna. I don't even think you realise you're going out of your comfort zone at HISS. It's sort of you just do it until you sort of look back on the week and go, oh, what did I do Tuesday? Oh, I ended up doing that. And so when you're talking to people after, it's like, oh, I ended up doing that. Like I was like, oh, you would have never done that, 2 months ago or whatever. Like, well, actually, yeah, oh, I did that on HISS. And you start thinking about how did this even come to happen? But it's because people are so nurturing around you, like, oh, give it a go. Oh, I can't play either. Come on, give it a go and stuff. But you don't actually realise that you're sort of way out of it.
thank you for coming for our bursary student in conversation catch up with all the bursary students from 2018 and Kira from 2019 as well. If you want to apply to be a bursary student, then you can visit our website to find out more. Or if you just have any questions that you want to know about being a bursary student before you get to the applying stage, just email us at hissinquiries@gmail.com. Always happy to hear some queries. Yeah, check out our website for all the goings on from the rest of this week.